What's up everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video I am sharing a base game only build. So for this build I didn't use any packs, it is just the base game. And I am, for that reason, obviously also building in a base game world. I'm building in Willow Creek. And I'm working on Duplex homes, which of course is in preparation for the new For Rent expansion pack that is going to be coming out pretty shortly. We don't have to wait that much longer anymore. It is almost coming and I'm so excited about it. So yeah, I really wanted to make something that was just base game. So if there is anyone out there who's playing The Sims with no packs but is planning on getting the For Rent expansion pack, for example, or if you just don't have all the packs, I really wanted to build something that is easy to download for pretty much anyone, and you can just kind of get started right away and use this with the new pack. So this is a duplex house or duplex homes. I never really know how to properly say that, but it's basically two houses right next to each other, so they're built against each other, if that makes sense. So they're basically just two houses and they are mirrored. The floor plans are very similar but also mirrored, and a little bit different actually, because for one of the houses the kitchen is in the front and for the other house the kitchen is in the back. But for the rest, the layouts are very similar to each other. They're a little bit different, and they're both 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom houses. And I think they turned out really cute. I didn't really have any specific reference for this build. I kind of just got started. I was looking at little bungalows. Essentially, these are only 1-story houses too, so I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to make something just 1 story because it's very easy and it's a little bit smaller, and it tends to be a little bit cheaper in the game as well. If you're not using any money cheats, then it's a little bit easier to actually move into these types of houses, especially when they are, I feel like, rentals. I mean, we're obviously going to have to wait and see what the pricing is going to be on these rentals. Like if you were to turn these lots, these regular residentials, into residential rentals, I think they're going to be called. We'll have to wait and see what price the game, like what rental price the game will give it. I hope it's not going to be too expensive, but I'm really curious to see how that is going to work. So that is something that we can look forward to. But I think that these houses will be very usable. They're very basic. Because it's only base game, I was very limited, of course, when it comes to decorating and just options in general. So I really try to keep these houses as basic as possible, but still give them each their own like personality. So that is really what I try to do. And one thing with the base game is that the furniture items in the base game tend to be a little bit more on the expensive side of things compared to a lot of items that we got in later packs. They really seem to have, the Sims team really seems to have adjusted pricing on a lot of items, and that happened throughout the years, like with the release of newer packs. So in the base game, a lot of the items actually always are very expensive, and so obviously that ups the price of the house in total as well. But yeah, when it comes to rentals, the new, or residential rentals, I guess, which is the new law type that's going to come with the For Rent expansion pack, we'll have to see how the rent price, like how high it's going to be, like how expensive it's going to be. It's all things that we'll have to wait and see how it's going to work. But yeah, for the rest, I think that these houses are very easy to use and easy to move into for people who enjoy playing the game. And I had so much fun doing a base game only build because it's definitely a long time ago since I've done that last. I do like to do limited pack builds every now and then, but just base game isn't something I tend to gravitate towards, even though I really do enjoy it because there is something so refreshing about not having all the options. It can get so overwhelming, and I'm very indecisive as is already when it comes to building. I'm very much a perfectionist, and I can get stuck on choices like the smallest things, the color of the curtains, for example. I can get stuck on that for a very long time. So when it comes to base game, it's actually nice to have not as many options, and you just kind of have to pick and choose and just kind of move on because there's not as many things to pick from. And I always feel like that is so nice and refreshing. And for this build, it was actually so fun because since it is a duplex house, it's 2 houses in one, that took up pretty much most of the space for this lot already, which I felt like was so realistic. So I didn't really have a whole lot of backyard space left. We do have 2 side yards. Each house gets its own little side yard, but they're really small. We do have a nice extended like terrace area for both of them. For one of the houses, I turned it into a dining area. For the other one, I turned it into more of like a seating area, lounge area, if you will. So that turned out really cute. But yeah, the side yards are very small. So if you do end up living with children in one of these houses, I feel like maybe you might want to go through and see if you can add some more toys outside, or maybe the monkey jungle bars. It will fit probably at the front of the house. I actually tried it there and it kind of worked. It looked a little bit cramped, but I was not mad about it. Like, I actually kind of liked how it looked. But it was in the way of screenshots for me. I wanted to take cute screenshots of the house, of course, and the monkey jungle bars were way just in the way of the pretty shots. So I decided not to put it there, but it's definitely possible if you wanted to. And then I did some landscaping, of course, with a bunch of debug plants. So those are going to be free. They will not add to the cost of the house, and probably also not to the rental cost of the house. We'll obviously, like I said, have to wait and see what that's going to be like and how expensive it's going to be, but I feel like it's going to be fine. They're pretty small 2-bedroom houses. They're not super small. Like, there's definitely some space to move around for your Sims. There's some space to route around, which is always nice. I tend to like to make things very cramped, because I feel like it's very realistic and I just really enjoy it. But also, when it comes to playing The Sims, your Sims definitely do need like some space around them to just kind of find their way around or do interactions with other Sims. Like, sometimes they like to stand up instead of like sit down and talk to each other. They like stand up and face each other for specific interactions, and you're gonna want to have some space for that. So that's what I kind of try to keep in mind because I was doing a base game house. I always really like to keep the gameplay in mind as well. So that's what I really try to do for this one as well. One thing I did though with the floor plan, I don't know how I didn't catch that on time. It's honestly never happened to me before, I feel like. But as I was doing the floor plans, I actually built this on stream, so maybe I was a little bit distracted. But it's 2 bedrooms, but I created it so that one of the bedrooms doesn't have any windows, which is crazy to me. That has never happened to me before. I'm always so big on making sure there is enough light in each room and like nice natural light. And I think in specific countries or areas, you're not even technically allowed to call a room a bedroom if it doesn't have a window, which I feel like makes sense. But yeah, for some reason for this house, the first one that we're furnishing, it ends up being a shared teenager's room. For the other house, it ends up being an infant's bedroom or toddler's room. I think it was a toddler's room, but I'm not exactly sure what I did. Yeah, those rooms ended up not having any windows, which thankfully in The Sims really doesn't make any difference at all. So for gameplay, it's honestly fine, but it's so silly because it just has never happened to me before, where I just made it so that the floor plan for one room wouldn't have a window. Like, it's so silly. But yeah, it just happened. I wish I had done it differently, but when I caught it, it was pretty much already too late because I was basically already done furnishing this first house. And then I was like, you know what? That's what's off about this room. It doesn't have any windows, which was the teenager's bedroom for this specific house. But then I was like, am I gonna change up the entire floor plan? Because the floor plan, let me tell you, for these houses, it was a struggle for some reason. It took me a long time to figure it out, which I did not record all of that at all. I actually cut out all the footage of me on stream messing around with the floor plan because it took me way too long. So yeah, I did not record that. It's not in the video, but yeah, it took me a long time. So when I finally figured it out, I was so relieved. And then I was done furnishing this house and I was like, you know what? This room doesn't have any windows and I hate it, but it's fine. We're not going to change it. It's going to be okay. But if you want to mess around with the floor plan yourself, you could probably figure something out. Because for example, the bathroom does have a window, so maybe you can change it up a little bit where you make the second room a bit smaller and you make the bathroom a bit bigger and like swap the two around. That is definitely something that could work. But it's not something I did. But if it really bothers you, like I said, in The Sims, it honestly doesn't matter. That's the beauty of The Sims. You can basically do anything and it doesn't make a difference. But if it really bothers you, then you can obviously try to play around with it or just have it be 1 bedroom and like put an archway into the other room and turn that into a study space or an office. Like, that is definitely something you could do as well. But here you can see we have the kitchen and living room and the dining room all figured out, and I really enjoy this open floor plan. It feels kind of modern. I was definitely going for a not super modern, more traditional, but nice and renovated maybe kind of look and feel for these houses. Obviously, when it's just the base game, you don't have a whole lot of different styles to pick from, so you kind of just gotta work with what you got in the base game. And for the most part, that is either more on the traditional side, or it's very like mid-century modern, which is also a style that is represented in the base game, but that is not something that would fit these houses at all, so that is not something I did. So it's more traditional, but it doesn't feel very outdated. I feel like it feels very regular, very common, which was something I definitely enjoyed for these houses too. But yeah, let me know. I feel like, I hope it's not too annoying, but the only thing I've been building recently on my channel is either apartments or townhouses or duplex homes, basically just multi-unit lots, because I am so excited for the For Rent expansion pack. I am so excited for this feature to basically finally be able to create multiple units on one lot. It's something I have been wanting for years. I know that it was something that was in The Sims 2. I think it came with the expansion pack Sims 2 Apartments or Apartment Life. I'm not exactly sure what it was called. I remember back in the day, I wanted that expansion pack so badly. I thought it was so fun, and it was literally everything I ever wanted. But back in the day, like back in the Sims 2 days, I was very young and I did not have all the money to like buy myself all these expansion packs, because I always like saved up for these things for months, and then I was finally able to get another expansion pack for The Sims 2, you know? So it always took me a while to save up for these things. And then the Apartment Life, or whatever it was called, that expansion pack, I unfortunately never ended up getting that one. And I always, to this day, really, really wanted to, because it's so appealing to me to like play in neighboring houses, like townhouses or row houses or apartments for that matter. And obviously I know that we got apartments with City Living, so we have had them for a long time, but like this is an entire new level where you can kind of just like shape them from the ground up yourself, other than building in a set apartment that just the game kind of decided for you. So it's so much fun. It's something I've been wanting for years, and now I will finally have it in The Sims 4, even though I never had it in The Sims 2, and I still really want to try that actually. Maybe that would be fun to try if I ever figure out how to get my hands on The Sims 2. I've been wanting this for years. I've been wanting The Sims 2 legally for a very long time, but it's just not possible. I have researched this and I have tried to get my hands on it, but I don't know. Like, I used to have the discs. I don't have the discs anymore. I don't know where they are. So that is also kind of annoying because I did have all the discs like years ago, but I don't have them anymore. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know where they are. But yeah, I wouldn't mind buying The Sims 2 all over again, but I just don't know how. I don't know how to get my hands on it. So if you know how, if you have The Sims 2 and you know how to get it, please let me know, because I really, really want to play it again. And maybe I think it'd be so fun to do a side-to-side comparison to For Rent and the Apartment Life, or like I said, I'm not sure what it was called. The Sims 2 version of For Rent, basically, because I'm so curious to see what it's all about, even though it's obviously very old and we're getting a new version now, but still, I think it'd be so fun. But yeah, here you can see I'm working on the teenager's bedroom. This is a shared teenager's room because I wanted to fit as many Sims as possible in this house. I thought that would be fun, so I decorated the house for 2 parents and 2 teenagers. You could obviously easily turn this into a kid's room or any other sim basically that you have in your game. But yeah, 2 Sims. I just kind of wanted to showcase that 2 single beds would fit in the room, even though it's a little bit cramped. And even though there's no window, I hate it, but it's just the way it is. There is no window in the room. But yeah, it fits with 2 single beds. So that is good for gameplay. You can have 4 Sims live in this house if you wanted to. And then they have a very small outdoor little area. There is this awkward space behind the back porch, and I thought it was super awkward and I didn't really know what to do with it, but then it hit me. I was like, yes, we need to put some planter pots. It's the perfect little gardening space. So that's what I did, and I really tried to go through and add some activities as well, because that is something I hadn't really been keeping an eye on as I was furnishing the house. I did put a bookcase and a computer, but those are just like standard things that I don't really have to think about. I always place them without really trying, if that makes sense, because they're such basic items. They just go in each house. But for the rest, I put an easel and some planter pots and a woodworking bench on one side. And then for this house, the second house that we're furnishing, what did I put? I put a telescope, I think, the small one, obviously not the big one, the small one that we got with a base game update not too long ago. And I think that's it. I think I put some toys for the toddler outside for this one because this house has space for a toddler. So there's one bedroom furnished for the parents, and then the other room is furnished for a toddler or an infant. I'm honestly still unsure what I did. Maybe I think I actually created a bedroom for an infant now that I'm thinking about it, because I made a makeshift changing table. That is something that I still don't understand to this day. We got the infant update with the Growing Together expansion pack, and they gave us changing tables in Growing Together and also a whole bunch of new infant furniture in the base game, but they didn't give us a base game changing table. That is something that I will not understand to this day. It's so annoying to me. I really, really would want them to go back and add in a base game changing table with an update. I think that would only be fair, but yeah, you know what, maybe someday. So for this one, I actually created one, a makeshift one like I used to do before we got Growing Together, and obviously because I'm using only base game, I had to do it again for this build. But here you can see the floor plan is pretty similar. The kitchen is on a different side of the house because it made more sense that way. And for the rest, it's very similar. This house feels a bit more spacious for some reason. I had more space for a larger dining table. I do believe that this floor plan is slightly bigger. I think it's a couple tiles bigger, so that might be the little difference there between the two. So that's why it feels a little more spacious and a little bit different. But this one has a nice 6-seater dining table, and I went for more gray colors, like more darker colors in this house in general. The other one has a lot more lighter colors. This one has more darker, like gray tones and things, which I really enjoy. I did give this house the same fireplace because I had the same one in the other house, and I thought that you know, fixture-wise, the kitchens and the bathrooms and the fireplaces and things, I feel like it would make sense for those to be the same for the two duplex houses. So that's what I did, and I actually debated leaving this one empty at first, just like have one be completely furnished and then the other one empty, but then I was like, you know what, no, I'm really enjoying decorating these houses, so I'm just going to decorate this one as well for a slightly different household, a slightly different family dynamic, if you will. So that's what I did. So yeah, 2 parents and a toddler for this one. This toddler bedroom is actually smaller than the teens bedroom in the other house. So I don't think you could have, I mean, you could have 2 Sims, you could have 2 single beds in the toddler's room, but it would be very cramped, so I wouldn't recommend it. So I feel like this house is more suitable towards a household of 3 Sims total, whereas the other one could fit 4 Sims if you wanted to. So that is definitely possible, and yeah, for the rest, this house is very similar. But as I was trying to ask before, let me know, are you excited for rent? Are you planning on getting it at all or not? What are you hoping for? What are your thoughts? What are your, like, is there something you're worried about? I am so excited to read about what people think and whether you're excited for the pack. What is something you want to explore first? Like, do you want to explore gameplay or cast, or are you a builder like me? Like, I'm so excited. I am actually not much of a gameplay simmer, but I will say I'm very excited to see how it works with becoming a property owner. I think that would be such a fun way to make money. I'm so excited to see, like, if it would work for a Rags to Riches challenge, for example. I think that would be kind of fun. Obviously, you'd need money to purchase a lot and then rent it out, so you would have to make some money before you can actually do that, but I think that would be kind of fun. And like seeing how the rating system works, like if you have a bad lot with a lot of mold, for example, like what happens. And obviously you can break and enter in this new pack. That is something that they are adding. So I'm excited to see how it works with like breaking into people's properties and like snooping around. Like what are the consequences when you do that? Like I'm just so curious to see how it is all going to work. Yeah, you can see I'm working on the bedrooms. The parents' bedroom is very cozy, lighter colors. I really like the green bedding. One thing I always struggle with when it comes to base game houses is the beds. I don't know what it is about the base game double beds, but I dislike all of them. There's one very basic one that is okay, but then the swatches on that one are not great. So for example, like this bed that I'm using in this house, I really don't like, but I do like the bedding, like the green flowery or like bedding with the leaves or the plants or whatever it is. I think that's very cute, you know, but the bed itself is so odd. I really don't like it. So there's something about the base game beds. I feel like they could use a little upgrade at this point. And then the toddlers or the infants' bedroom is actually quite cute because that's all new stuff that was recently added in the game. And then over here we have the backyard. So I decided to put a smaller dining table on the back porch, a 3-seater dining table. And then I went for a nice lounge area here in the back. I thought that would be nice so they can do some lounging in the yard while the infant is playing. I put some toys out here as well, which is cute. I think I put a dollhouse so they can like hang out in the yard and play around with a dollhouse. And then for the rest, I just gave them some decorations and some plants and some planter boxes for this one as well at the front of the yard and a nice picnic table. I thought that was a really cute finishing touch, but that's basically it. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you the house in real time. So here we have the duplex homes in the game. I feel like they look very inviting and family friendly, and I really like how they look on this lot in this neighborhood. The only thing is for the gallery picture, technically this is the front of the lot. So this is the picture that you'll see on the gallery, which is very confusing, but I feel like it makes a lot of sense here on this corner lot. So yeah, we have the front of the house here, one entrance over here, and then the other front porch over here, 2 small backyards as well. So when we move into this first house, this is the floor plan. We basically have an open living, dining, and kitchen area, and then 2 bedrooms in the back. So there is a nice entryway space over here, and then you're basically just like right in the kitchen. You can see that I really toned it down with the clutter as well because I really wanted these houses to be easy for gameplay and not as expensive to first move into. So I really tried to tone it down with the decorations. But then over here is the living room space with a TV and a fireplace and these nice couches. And right by the front door is the bathroom, which is really basic. Then in the back here, we have the parents' room, also a very basic. Everything is very matchy-matchy, but that's just kind of easy to do when you're using just the base game because you don't have as many options to pick from. It's easier to go very matchy-matchy. So that's what I've kind of just embraced for this one. And then over here is the teens' room. They have a lofted bed or bunk beds and some posters, a computer in here. So this room is definitely a little bit more on the cluttered side of things. Then moving on to the second house, they have the exact same entryway and bathroom situation here, like right by the front door. I literally copied this one over, but I put a potty in this one because we have a little infant in this house. This house is very similar, but they have the kitchen and bedrooms basically swapped. So we have the bedrooms at the front of the house. This one right here is the parents' room. It's nice and bright. I love this green bedding. I think that's very cute. They have the same dresser or wardrobe setup as the other house. And then over here is the infant's room, which is nice and pink. I think this is really cute. It's very small, but it does make sense. And we do have a nice makeshift changing table, which sadly, obviously isn't functional. Then over here, we have the dining room area. I have space for a nice 6-seater dining table, and I swapped out one of the chairs for a high chair. And then there is a kitchen back here, which is very similar to the kitchen in the other house. And then over here is the living room space. This one is a little bit more cluttered. It has some more toys scattered around because obviously they have a small child, so that only makes sense. But for the rest, it's very cozy. Then in the back for this house, we have a nice back porch with a dining table, a telescope, and a lounge / play area over here. And for the other house, we have the same back porch, but just with a bench. Sorry for the jumpy camera. We have some planter pots over here, and then a nice dining table and a a grill for these people and a woodworking bench over here by the fence. But that is basically it for this build. So these base game duplex homes are up on the gallery. Like I said, the picture is a bit awkward because it's from the side of the house. But here you can see it is the duplex houses. It has 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms total, and it comes in at just over 103,000 simoleons, but it is 2 houses in one, and it's supposed to be a rental, so we'll have to wait and see what the pricing is going to be like. But I built it on a 30 by 20 in the world of Willow Creek, so if you want to place it in your game, then that is where it goes. But that's going to do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download it off the gallery like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is Simmary Sims. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you'd like. My username on there is Simmary Sims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so, and if you want to be notified of every single time I upload a video, just click that little bell icon and you should be fine. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/SimmarySims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!